cuvântul, sfărâmața între cuvântul, gândind tăcere rusată. Ca prin horbă în glasă crapă, ca prin horbă în glasă crapă, turuitul să înceapă, mintea-n veci să nu-i mai tacă, mintea-n veci să nu-i mai tacă. De pildă neprihănească, să dăruiești cu horbă bună, de mlădios în vânt răsună, să răzbești în stăruință, să plăsmuiești buna cuvință.
لا يلمدوا weiß, dass ich häng am windigen Baum, 9 Nächte gefangen zwischen Zeit und Traum, vom Speer verwundet, der mir selbst geweiht, blutend nass, so lange Zeit. Sie boten mir weder Speis noch Trank, die Seele geschunden, der Körper so krank, doch drangen sie durch Schmerz und Pein. Runen sinnend, sie fielen mir anheim. Weißt du zu retten, weißt du zu raten, weißt du zu finden, weißt du zu bewahren.
Weißt du zu retten, weißt du zu raten, weißt du zu finden, weißt du zu bewahren.
So lernte ich zu denken und fühlen sogar, ein Auge gegeben, für Weisheit immer da. Das Wissen der Zeichen geritzt auf Buchenstab, 9 Lieder von Bölterns Sohn, ich tief in mir vergraben hab. Weißt du zu ritzen, weißt du zu raten, weißt du zu finden, weißt du zu bewahren.
Weißt du zu retten, weißt du zu raten, weißt du zu finden, weißt du zu bewahren.
Aus Ultrarehr geschöpft, in reinen Met, allwissend geb ich kund, den der dies versteht. Besser nicht gebeten, als zu viel Gebet. Die Gabe will Vergeltung, das Rad sich weiter dreht. Weißt du zu ritzen, weißt du zu raten, weißt du zu finden, weißt du zu
Good morning, boys and girls. Hope everybody's enjoying your weekend. And I hope everyone can hear me okay. I've been kind of playing around with the settings and kind of jacking around with the way some of the changes and what have you that's come across Facebook as of late. I now have to have two tabs pulled up simultaneously, side by side. One where we are broadcasting in the Open Pagan Church page, and the other where we're simulcasting in the House of Pagans page. Facebook, for some reason, no longer combines the post. So last week, because of this, I had people asking questions, posting statements, having conversations. I missed the entire damn thing. Ah, well. Welcome to technology. So, I've had a couple of people ask me, why don't you number your videos? Why? I have no idea what video number this is. Don't care. My videos are titled Pagan Discrimination. So, if you want to find my videos, you're not going to find them by a number. You're going to come over to the Open Pagan Church page. You're going to click like. You're going to go over and you're going to click on videos, and voila, there you go. Well, so what's our topic? Well, our topic this week is pagan discrimination. And this opens up with a statement. The Open Pagan Church is not just for pagans. It's for every member of every faith that wants to come in and sit and share spiritual wisdoms, ideas, and philosophies, as long as they're done so with respect. I don't care what your faith is. Anything from agnostic to atheism. And I love it because they say, well, atheism's not a faith. Sure it is. They believe there's nothing there. Well, if you believe, whatever you believe, if you believe in something either bigger than yourself or there's nothing there, that's a faith. That's a belief. It is this atheism is a religion. Now, you want to really piss off an atheist? Tell them. But you are a member of a religion. It's called atheism. My camera's tripping. Alright. There we go. Well, maybe not. So, and like I say, if my replies are a little slow, if you ask a question, I'm watching two different windows. Onward and upward as we go. Pagan discrimination. Well, I did a broadcast some weeks ago on coming out. Coming out as pagan, coming out as LGBT, coming out as anything. It can be tough. Discrimination, as I've described many times, is when you hold someone's thoughts, beliefs, philosophies, or ideas against them, and then you ridicule them for it. The biggest thing is job discrimination, social discrimination, and what have you. Now, I'm not going to get on this big tirade of putting down the Christian philosophy, because if Christians would actually truly read their own canon and their own laws, where Jesus broke bread with the pagans and all other members of other religious societies, Their own philosophy and religion teaches against discrimination. And then some ding-dong idiot name of King James wrote in the Bible, "Suffer not a witch to live." Well, you can definitely tell the time span in which that was written, which is the Middle Ages. The King James Version is not the freaking Bible. It is a version. So there you go. So what is discrimination? Discrimination is global. Discrimination is not discriminatory. It discriminates against everybody. My atheist friends are all LGBT. Okay. That doesn't mean all LGBs are atheists. We have an atheist church in Baltimore. Yeah, cool. That's right. We have a pagan church in Texas. Right here on the internet. Global. Ah. What constitutes discrimination? And the title of this church is a little bit misleading. Pagan discrimination. That doesn't necessarily mean discrimination against pagans. That truly also means pagans discriminating against others of different philosophies, religions, and ideas. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Pagans can be some of the nastiest bastards out there. I have seen personally, since I've been running the HOP, I have seen multitudes of pagan circles and organizations discriminate, kick out, abuse, and treat nastily members of other societies and philosophies within the pagan ideology. We had a very large circle down in Liberty, Texas for a while. Liberty's halfway between Houston and Beaumont. It was a relatively large circle, about 60 foot in diameter, and we could put 100 plus people in there. And we did more than once. Average gathering was anywhere from 50 to 80 people of all denominations of pagan philosophies. Now, to many of the pagan organizations in Beaumont, we were the laughingstock. To many of the pagan organizations in Houston, we were the laughingstock. Now keep in mind, we sit dead center of the triangle between Houston, Beaumont, and Galveston. Galveston was south, Beaumont was to the east, Houston to the west. And we were considered by the Golden Triangle to be the laughingstock. Yet, we were the biggest single pagan organization in Texas at the time. But yet, we were the laughingstock. We were told that we didn't know what pagan meant. Okay, pagan is polytheistic, gods and goddesses. That's what pagan means. Anything outside of that is path specific. But because these organizations that thought we were the laughing stock, they were covens, groves, very closed, very tight-knit groups. And that's perfectly fine. I've never had a problem with covens, groves, closed groups, what have you. I mean, hell, I'm the master shaman of the GCS, the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. But we don't discriminate against others. I mean, the GCS is not open door for any witch or druid who wants to join. We are a shaman grove. But that's in the GCS. Outside of the GCS, I am a pagan minister first. Hence, when I counsel someone or give someone spiritual guidance as a pagan minister, I do so in an open forum. I don't care what your philosophy is, what your religion is. Sometimes I will ask, what is your path? Because it kind of helps me gear my head to the best way to counsel you and guide you in your spiritual leadership. But I'm not going to discriminate against you because of your belief. And it's always been my concern that there are so many pagan groups out there that are anti-everything. They're anti-Christian. Some of them are anti-government. I'm not anti-anything except for anti-idiot. There just happens to be a boatload of idiots running our government. And there happens to be a boatload of idiots running some of the closed covens out there that discriminate against other groups, religions, and philosophies because they don't think the way they do. Let's see. Sounds an awful lot like some Christian churches, doesn't it? It's a shame, really. So to the pagans out there that will be watching this broadcast later, I'm sure, and getting pissed off because the old bearded one is sitting here going, but you're running your organization with a Christian philosophy of discrimination. That'll piss a few of them off, but you know what? You'll get over it. Or not. I don't care, one way or the other. And I had a leader of one of the groups back in Liberty tell me, well, we will just boycott your circle. Okay. None of your people come to my circle anyway. So you're going to boycott what? I would have to care what you do, as long as you leave my members and people alone and don't discriminate against them when they come to open pagan events, Pagan Pride Day and what have you. Pagan discrimination. You know, when people say discrimination, they immediately think about racial discrimination, hate crimes caused by some Christian groups. They immediately think about all of the meanness going on in the world right now, where if someone walks into a business and they're of another color or of another sexual origin, if you will, they're immediately looked down upon, thought bad about. And sometimes I've even heard of business owners saying, we don't serve your type in here. And what truly saddens me is when a particular pagan organization opens their doors to the pagan community, and then they look at someone and say, you're not welcome. We don't serve your type in here. That really kind of breaks my heart. Now, granted, I have been known to discriminate against someone coming to circle drunk. I've been known to discriminate against someone coming to circle stoned. Imagine that. I've also been known to discriminate against someone coming into circle that likes to stir crap, keep drama going, lie, spread rumors and innuendos. Yes, well, imagine that. So I have been known to discriminate against people for being stupid. By the definition of discrimination, that's discrimination. Because I'm treating someone differently because of their thoughts, philosophies, or ideas. So discrimination has to be chosen and not taken lightly. Discrimination, I say again for the millionth time, is treating someone differently for their thoughts, philosophies, or ideas, up to and including actions. But as a society, we have to be able to rationalize and theorize someone's actions, the way they treat others, and the way they treat themselves. Now, I have, to my knowledge, never discriminated against someone who is a cutter, who beats themselves or treats themselves badly. In fact, those are the people we want to embrace the most and help them get past that. But someone who has no more respect for my circle or my home to try to enter my home or my circle, stoned, drunk, belligerent, looking for drama, or just being an asshole. No, you're not. Now, if you want to sit outside circle and you want to be quiet, keep your mouth shut, stay still, sit down, shut up, welcome. However, I've never seen anyone drunk off of their ass or stoned out of their mind be able to sit down and shut up. Just never seen it. I mean, hell, I'm a recovered drug addict and alcoholic since 1982. And when I was drinking and doing drugs, I couldn't sit down and shut up. The more I drank, depending on what I drank, I got 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So I thought. My poor broken nose multiple times is proof of that. Crooked little fella. Discrimination is bad no matter how you look at it. But the point to the discussion is to help the masses understand that discrimination is global. Discrimination happens all day, every day, all over the planet. To say that some discrimination is good and some discrimination is bad, no. All discrimination is bad. I will say that some discrimination, by the, shall we say, preponderance of the evidence, is necessary. Like the person trying to come into my circle or my home stoned or drunk, being disrespectful. I'll discriminate against your ass in a heartbeat. However, come back sober. Come back ready to learn. Come back ready to open your mind and your heart. Ask questions and listen. Do not dishonor the home or the circle or my family or the people within. It still doesn't make discrimination right. So, have you, watching this video, ever found yourself discriminated against by a fellow pagan organization? Now, I'm sure that at some point, everybody who watches the video, who watches the broadcast live, can drop in the chat window evidence or times in which they were discriminated against by society. But that's not my question. That's not my point to the talk in the broadcast today. The point today is pagan discrimination. Pagans discriminating against pagans. That, to me, is unacceptable. Most especially when you get into radical discrimination. Radical discrimination, no matter how you look at it, is never good. And yes, I'm always doing about 9 other things in the background. So what do you think? What do you think? How many times, or have you been discriminated against by other pagan groups? I know I have. I could tell you stories about some of the crap that went on down south that would curl your toes. But the problem is, out of respect for some of the very old groups and covens that are in Houston and Beaumont, I wouldn't be able to tell you the story without giving you names and places and dates and names of people and names of covens, and I'm not about all of that. I can, however, tell you that back around 03, 04, and 05, there was a big movement to get the HOP out of the South and shut down completely. Because the HOP, we took you as you were. I didn't stand over the top of you with a big hammer going, you will live this way and you will not do this and you will not do that. I simply looked at you and said, are you sure that's a good idea? But isn't that what a minister, not a preacher, but a minister should do of any faith? The difference between a minister is someone who carries their faith with them, sits and listens to others, and guides them along a spiritual path with the ministry, either pagan, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. A preacher steps up to a podium, looks out at the minions out in the pew, pounds the Bible, slams the desk, praise the Lord, blessed Jesus, we're going to be saved today. You have got to live by the order of the Bible. I tell you right now, you'll rot in hell if you don't. There's your preacher. A minister guides. A minister tries to be a good, honest, honorable leader of whichever society that he's a member of or she's a member of. A minister says, I can't tell you the way you're living is wrong. I can ask you if you've lost your mind, and I can say, do you really think that's a good idea? But it's not my job to get in your face and tell you you're wrong. It's not my job to try to browbeat you and make you feel guilty for the way you live. It's not my job. It is my job to help you learn how to not discriminate against others, how not to hate someone because they're different, how to understand the secret to life, which is acceptance. I don't have to agree with you. I don't even have to like you. I don't have to trust you. But I do have to accept you. I have to accept you as a human being living on the same planet I am, breathing the same air I am, eating the same food from the same mother that I do. You have the right as a human being to live a full, happy, productive life. I may not agree with how you go about it. I may not even have to allow you in my home or my circle because you're disrespectful, if you are, because you are a warmonger, if you are, or because you are a habitual liar and a habitual shit stirrer, if you are. I have to, as a human being, as a minister, accept you for who and what you are. But it stops right there. That's the task of a minister. And helping people understand that discrimination of any kind is not good. Helping the community, working for and with the pagan community, or any community for that matter. I don't think I have seen yet Texas has a Adopt a Highway program where organizations, churches, groups can adopt a 1 or 2 mile stretch of freeway and work with the local city-state government in cleaning up that stretch of the roadway. Now, they generally don't like you to do it on freeways because average speeds are like, 70 miles an hour plus in some areas. But the rural roads, the back roads, the country roads, some of the lower end highways where the average speeds are 60 miles an hour or so, follow safety protocol and get out there and clean it up. I've yet to hear of a pagan group filing for a permit to get out there and clean up the road. Now, I can tell you that when we had the Circle in Liberty, it wasn't that big a thing. And trying to get a permit to get a group together to adopt a freeway when it first came out was a real pain in the butt. And now, unfortunately, here in the DFW area, we're essentially a two-person show, my wife and I, for the HOP for the Dallas group. There's just no place to hold gatherings. There's no place to gather people on a weekly basis and sit and chat and sit and talk. That's part of the purpose for the Facebook broadcast. So I continue to do my HOP churches and reach people that wanted to listen. Eventually, one day, hopefully, we will have a property where we can open that gathering again and have people come and sit and exchange ideas and philosophies. And it will be a non-discriminatory circle, for the most part. stay sober, respectful. You come into my circle. Any circle, really, guys. So, that's where we're at today. Pagan discrimination. What are your questions? And is anybody posting anything that I'm not seeing? Because I'm not used to people being this quiet. Seriously. Post in the chat a quick little skit where you may have been discriminated against by another pagan group, not by mainstream society, not by Christian philosophy or anything of that other discrimination, because hell, we could write a book on that. But the discrimination that a lot of people don't talk about because they're embarrassed, and that is the discrimination by your own faith, which is pathetic, really. So, let's take a break. Let's listen to some music, and we'll be right back shortly. Nice little drumming tune there. Well, hell. Ah, there we go. Is that better? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway. All right. Thank you to the guys that are just joining. You're coming in a little bit late. Our discussion is on pagan discrimination. And before you get all willy-nilly and start talking about the discrimination that you guys have dealt with from the bad society, no. Today we're talking about those of you that have been discriminated against by other pagan organizations or fellow pagans yourself. And one post says, where'd it go? Oh, come on. Really? Turn off even. Facebook just irritates the hell out of me sometimes. You never know how you're going to see the post. So anyway, I have to keep scrolling down because it won't show me the latest post at the top. Anyway, one says, I love when Christians talk about witches in a bad way. And then they go straight out, make a wish on a birthday candle. On a falling star. Or throw salt over their shoulder when they spill the salt. Where do they think it come from? Absolutely. Michelle says, I haven't experienced pagan discrimination yet. You're very lucky. Very, very lucky. Absolutely. Welcome, Jennifer, Jamie, Michelle, Danae, Camille. Yeah. All right. Well, if I keep looking down at the chat list, it's because yeah. And another one says, I haven't experienced that yet either. They're posting through Open Pagan Church. What you may want to do is click on the little icon on the right, and where it says you want to post as Open Pagan Church or you want to post as you, and click on Post as You. That way when you post something, it actually comes across as you, so I know who's posting it. All right, so onward and upward. Pagans discriminating against pagans is not cool. Not cool at all. But I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. And it happens more times than we would care to admit, sadly enough, really. Because when it comes to especially quite a few covens and groves, they're very close-knit. They're very tight with each other, and I get that. I get that. But treating someone else badly because they're not of your tradition is no better than a Christian treating you badly because you're pagan, or you're a witch, or you're Wicca, you're Druid, you're Fae, or Shaman, or whatever. I can't count on the amount of hands and toes I have, times 10, the amount of times I have heard leaders of other groups slam, flame, and put down other members of other philosophies within the pagan organizations because simply they're different. Now, if you go out and commit armed robbery, if you go out and beat someone for no reason, you go out and you commit extreme antisocial behavior that puts yourself, paganism, or your group, grove, or coven in a bad way, you deserve whatever you got coming to you. Like I said earlier, if you come into my circle drunk or stoned, your ass is going to be sent away. Now, if you're drunk or stoned, I'm not going to send you home because I don't want you on the road driving on my conscience. So I will simply ask one of my guardians of the circle to escort you in the house or escort you somewhere where you're safe and sleep it off. Don't try to attend or go to or even involve yourself in someone else's ritual, circle, event, group, or grove, or coven, or gathering, however you want to call it, inebriated. Whether you're inebriated on prescription medication, illegal drugs, or alcohol, you're being dishonorable not only to them, but to yourself. Now, the conversation's not about drugs and alcohol, although drugs and alcohol are a big contributor to discrimination. A lot of hate crimes are committed while under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Drugs are alcohol. Hate crimes are committed by, while under the influence of stupid. And hate crimes are not just committed, as we well know, by Christians. Hate crimes are committed by Christians, they're committed by pagans, they're committed by Muslim, Jewish. Hate crimes are committed by atheists. Hate crimes are committed by people. I don't know of a single religion out there that supports hate crimes. Some of the writings of some of the religions written by man, King James Bible, suffer not a witch to live. There are some interpretations of the Quran that talk about stoning, not getting stoned, but stoning others because they're different, because they do not live as you do. So if you look and you're a radicalist and you just got to run amok and kill people and get stupid, you can find some kind of text out there somewhere that will defend your actions. But it still doesn't make it right. It still doesn't make it society acceptable. And someone might say, but Don, what is society acceptable? Well, I can only give you my interpretation of societally accepted or acceptable behavior. Really quite simple. Respect. Honor. Accept people for who they are. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't even have to support it. But accept people for who they are. I accept a rapist as a rapist, but you won't get near my wife or my daughter. I accept you for who you are. I hate what you've done. But you as a person, you're still a person. If you come in my house, you break into my home, to me, you cease to be a human. You invaded my space. You attacked my home. If my family is present, it's even worse. I have no remorse in dropping you where you stand. I'm not going to discriminate against you. I'm not going to stand there and browbeat you and tell you how nasty and ugly you are. No. You break into my home, you attack my family, I will drop your ass where you stand. My wife will too, for that matter. And I'm teaching my daughter how to. But I'm also teaching my daughter to not discriminate against others. Attack only when attacked. Defend when defense is needed. Defend others when defense is needed. That's a topic for a whole nother discussion. But discrimination has been so blown up. Societally acceptable continues with people honoring other people's space. People honoring people. At my job, I work with a relatively nice group of people. I don't agree with some of their lifestyles. I don't agree with some of the things that they do. I don't even agree with some of the things that they say. Some of the things that come out of their mouth are like, really? You just said that. Okay. But I respect their right to do so. And other people come back, well, their right to speak their mind doesn't give them the right to offend me. Well, then we get into another mishmash of very inflammatory conversations, and that is being offended by others. We live in a world today where so many people are offended. Okay, take the chip off of your shoulder and take your heart off of the other shoulder. Put the heart back where it belongs and take the chip off the shoulder and put it on the table. And don't be such a whiny little git. Everybody's offended. If I have something to say, I try to make sure that it's worded as non-offensively as possible. However, if you ask my opinion on something, I will try to give you that opinion as professionally and respectfully as possible. However, if you ask my opinion on a particular topic, depending on what it is, the only answer I may have for you is stupid people. I've even had people post on some of my posts when I say the only cure for stupid is illegal. I actually had a couple of people one time come back and tell me I'm offended by that. To which I came back, LOL. I don't care. I don't care. Why don't I care? There's a very big misconception since the advent of the internet. And people watching the broadcast, the presentation live, and those of you watching it later, I have a strong recommendation you listen to this very, very closely. People today have a misconception that what you post on social network is private. I will say that again. People have the misconception that what you post on social network is private. It is not. Your post, once you hit send on that keyboard, it becomes the property of a global connected social network system. And the interesting part is, even though you may go back and delete it, if it's inflammatory enough, somebody somewhere has already screenshotted it and saved that screenshot. And like Camille and I were talking yesterday, emails and social network posts are admissible in a court of law. At least in America they are. Especially in Texas. They use them all the time. So they've busted a lot of child porn dumbasses. They busted a lot of people committing hate crimes, internet bullying, which just really throws me into a tizzy. Trolling. I did a radio show on internet bullying and trolling a couple of weeks ago. That is discrimination at its highest. It's pathetic. It's immature. And even worse than just basically immature, it's downright damn well childish. But it is admissible in a court of law. So, if you come across someone's post that offends you, there's a little button called hide. You can click on it and click on hide. You can choose to block this person's post. You can choose to do any number of things. And the other person can do the same to you. I've gotten involved in a boatload of philosophical debates and debationary ideologies or ideological debates online with many of my friends. Some of them get kind of heated, but I always try to remember to respect. Unless I'm disrespected, I always try to remember to respect the person or persons that I'm debating. And I've had some of these very friends go through and disrespectful post, disrespectful crap that some ding-dong obviously post that gave no thought about, and delete just their post. You know, if you don't like what's there, click delete. Change the channel. If you don't like what's on the damn TV, don't sue the network because you don't like what they're showing. Click, change the channel. Boy, I'm showing my age. We don't click anymore. We don't turn a knob anymore. Haven't in over 20-something years, really. Here you go. You use this little device called a remote, and you change the channel. Or turn the damn thing off. Well, I'm not going to start mashing buttons because this is my air conditioner remote, and, well, it gets hot in this office. So what do you think? I've had a couple of people say, I haven't experienced that yet either. I've not experienced enter pagan discrimination. Post if you have. Really. Because it is something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be brought out in the open. And I've seen some downright nasty, hateful covens out there. And I don't want to sound like I'm being all gloom and doom on covens, because I'm not. I know some really wonderful people that run some really wonderfully organized and laid out covens. Now, granted, let me make myself clear before someone goes off running amok and going, "You won't let me join your coven. Mr. Don says you're discriminating against me." No, that's not what I'm saying. Covens are typically closed groups. You can petition the group to join. Most covens, if they want you, it is because one of their existing members know you, and they will invite you. They'll invite you to an open circle of some kind. Covens, groups, Grove always have periodic open circles. Take the GCS, for example. The Grove of the Celtic Shaman. You cannot join the Grove until you are at least a priest level, and your teacher of the GCS submits you for membership. We have our own reasons for doing that. It's not because we discriminate against witches or druids or fae. It's because we are a closed shaman grove. The shamans within the grove are learning shamanism, not witchcraft, not fae, not draconic, not Asatru. They're learning shamanism. So it's a closed grove. We have two groups on Facebook. We have the open GCS and we have the closed GCS. The open GCS is where I do my live with a shaman on Sunday evenings, 8 p.m. Central Time. Anyone can come in and listen. Input. By all means, input. It's an adult-oriented channel because we do use rough language. We talk about some very adult topics. We're shaman. We're all adults. We have adult conversations. No one under 18 allowed. Unless the parent is sitting there and going, and lets them listen. Not my bad. I don't discriminate against others because they don't believe the way I do. So you can see that paper thin fine line between group operations, as in a closed group, and discrimination. Discrimination would be if I ridiculed other people because they don't believe the way I do. That would be discrimination. And pagan discrimination would be if I was ridiculing other pagan philosophies and other followers of those pagan philosophies that may not believe as I do. I'm perfectly happy to sit and talk with you about your philosophy and ideologies. Hell, I may learn something. God is forbid I learn something. God is forbid you learn something. know the difference between being told no, you know, you cannot join this group, and discrimination, or you being discriminated against by the group. And if you hadn't heard me the other million times, being told no might simply mean that you do not fit the criteria that that particular group is looking for. But there's a difference in that and being told, and this would be like, example, a draconic trying to join the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. That would be like me looking at a draconic and going, dude, if you lost your mind, you're draconic. You can't join a shaman group. Shit. We don't allow draconics in our group. Draconics have lost their mind. They're crazy ass people. Go away. Go die somewhere. That's discrimination. That's discrimination of the worst kind. Well, it's not as bad as beating the hell out of the poor fool because he asked to join. That would be a hate crime. But to respect someone's beliefs and respectfully say, we are a shaman grove. We study specific forms of Celtic shamanism within the grove. We do impress on our students to reach outside and learn other things. But when you're performing within the GCS, then you are performing within the GCS. And I really don't think that you would be a good fit for our grove. That is explaining to the individual, I respect who you are, I respect what you do, but you don't fit what we're looking for in the grove. And we have our own reasons why we do not allow seekers, first years, and senior students to actually join the grove. And if you want to know the exact why, go over to Live with the Shaman or the Open GCS and ask. We'll be glad to explain it to you. But my first years that come up, they oath to the tradition of the GCS and are with me as their teacher, and I teach them the way of the GCS, so that when if they decide to join the GCS and they're presented by me, their teacher, and they're voted on by the priest and above in the GCS to actually join the grove, that's just the way our tradition is written. That's like the Druidic groves, the witches' covens, the Wiccan covens. They each have their own tradition written specifically to fit their denomination of paganism. But that's not discrimination. Discrimination is the ridicule, the disallowance of someone to be able to do something simply because they're different. And you can come back and say, but Don, you just said, I know. By core definition, that would be discrimination, right? But there's a difference between respectfully telling someone no and looking at someone because they're Christian or because they're Muslim or because they're black, or because they're white, or because they're Hispanic or Japanese or whatever, and telling them no because you're of a different color. No because. And you're discriminating against them and making them or demeaning them about themselves. Jamie says the difference between not qualified and discrimination. Absolutely. And Michelle says, unless you count the things my fellow pagan stroke cousin has said to me. If anyone, family or not, pagan, slams you or puts you down for the way you believe, that's discrimination, plain and simple. Now, if I look at someone and say, I don't understand the way you believe, explain it to me. And at the end of that explanation, I say, I don't get it. That's not discrimination. That's just my stupid self not getting it. I mean, I've known Jamie for years. A lot of years. And she's Druid. I'm Shaman. We've had some interesting conversations about Druid this and Shaman that. There's a lot of things that we're parallel on, but there's a lot of things that we're different as night and day on. We've had some interesting debates, but it's just that, it's a debate. Jamie respects me because I'm Shaman. I respect Jamie because she's Druid. Actually, we respect each other because we're human beings and we're good friends. Clint was one of my students. He's a master in the Grove now. He has his own church circle. He teaches shamanism within his own philosophy, and and we will only present them to the GCS if he's following in that tradition. But it's not discrimination by the destructive means of the terms. So if your family is talking down on you, or if your family is looking at you and going, have you lost your mind for following that path, you idiot? That could be construed as discrimination, I would think. Wouldn't you? Imagine that. Well, we are 20 minutes before the hour. I don't really have a whole lot else I could say on the topic, do you? But I would like to, and I would like for others to read examples of times that you have been discriminated against by other pagan folk, group, or organizations. Not by society, not by Christianity, not by Christian churches. I want others to see, those of you watching live and those of you watching the pre-recorded broadcast later, post what has happened to you if you have been discriminated against by other organizations and or other pagan family members that you may have in your family that have discriminated against you because you're different. I'd like to see those posts. And I'm sure others would too, especially seekers coming in that deal with inter-circle discrimination all the time. So, what's on for the rest of our Sunday? Well, when I pop off here in a minute, I'm going for more coffee. And I'm going to take a break before I slide over to UnitedPaganRadio.net to do my topic over there. If you want to know what the topic is for this Sunday, slide your butt over to Coffee with Pegasus Facebook page. And if you don't know where it's at, just search hashtag Coffee with Pegasus. It's all over the place. If you can't post it in the Grove, I get it. Send it to me via PM. Seriously. PM it to me. I'd still like to read it. Anyway. So, at 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern, I'll be on UnitedPaganRadio.net with a good topic. And then tonight, I will be on Live with the Shaman with a good topic as well at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. So, our topic today has been pagan discrimination. And it's a shame, but it happens. And I hope you all have a really good week. I want to thank you for watching, as always. Enjoy your week. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time here on Open Pagan Church.